The U.S. government just dumped decades of classified UFO files onto the internet. Social media is scrambling to process gigabytes of data, driven by President Trump pushing this release and demanding answers to one specific question: what the hell is going on? For decades, talking about unidentified aerial phenomena meant navigating late-night radio shows and blurry conspiracy theories. Now, the highest levels of the federal government are treating these encounters as official, documented events. This push for transparency is being driven directly by the newly formed Department of War. They have mandated a continuous rolling declassification of government records tied to unresolved sightings, and they aren't working alone. FBI Director Kash Patel stated the Bureau is operating 24/7 alongside interagency partners to dig these files out of the archives and hand them over to the public. The sheer volume of material is staggering. We are looking at gigabytes of military targeting videos, historical reports, and raw astronaut audio files dropped onto a public server all at once. Wading through that much raw data is nearly impossible for anyone without a dedicated team. We went through the database and isolated the clearest, most verifiable pieces of evidence to see exactly what the military has been tracking. The first major piece of evidence pulls us back to the 1960s space race. The archive includes audio recordings from the Gemini 7 mission, piloted by highly trained NASA astronauts Frank Borman and Jim Lovell. This encounter didn't happen in domestic airspace. It took place in low Earth orbit. Out here, you can immediately rule out misidentified weather balloons, civilian drones, or standard commercial aircraft. Right in the middle of their flight, Mission Control receives a transmission. The crew clearly reports a visual on an unidentified object outside their capsule, moving in tandem with their orbit. These are men who understand orbital mechanics and space debris better than anyone alive at the time. When a NASA pilot looks out the window and says they are tracking a craft they cannot identify, it carries significant weight. This transmission confirms that the U.S. government has been actively logging highly credible sightings outside our atmosphere for well over half a century. The archive doesn't stop in the 1960s. We also have modern visual evidence pulled directly from Navy fighter jets, specifically declassified infrared targeting pod footage. In these videos, you see our most advanced sensor arrays attempting to track glowing, oval-shaped objects. The crafts move erratically, easily breaking the targeting locks of top-tier U.S. military pilots. This vector grid models the telemetry. The objects execute instantaneous acceleration, dropping tens of thousands of feet in seconds, crushing G-forces for any human. Beyond speed, they achieve this maneuverability without aerodynamic control surfaces like wings, and sensors show zero thermal exhaust plumes. The flight characteristics captured by these military sensors describe performance parameters that exist outside the current understanding of aerospace engineering. The military knows the data doesn't add up. That's why the statement accompanying this release from the Department of War is so revealing. The document outlines their findings, but the key takeaway is right here. The government explicitly states they are unable to make a definitive determination about the nature of these phenomena. They attribute this to a lack of sufficient data. They are operating the most extensive, highly calibrated sensor and satellite network on the planet, yet they cannot collect enough actionable intelligence to identify what is flying in our airspace. The most heavily funded military apparatus in the world has reviewed decades of its own classified evidence and openly admitted they do not have the answers. We are past the era of whispered rumors and denied access. The locked vaults are open and the files are out. Along with the data, the Department of War issued an open invitation for private sector analysis and public expertise to help investigate these unresolved cases. While these files do not contain confirmed evidence of extraterrestrial life, they document a persistent global mystery that the world's most advanced military can no longer ignore or explain away. The declassification process is ongoing, with more files being uploaded regularly. Take a look at the data yourself. Let us know what you think the Gemini 7 crew actually saw, and hit subscribe as we continue to break down